What we have here is another example of the Democrats and the liberals using civil rights and Black Lives Matter and all of that to scam the people. And I'm not just talking about black people. A whole lot of white people believed in their mission and the things that they were doing. So they thought. I want you to check out this video clip and look at how this woman, Miss Dickerson, came into the public eye. Listen to what she says. And then after that, let me show you where we at today with her. And let's see if what she says in this clip you're about to look at stands true to what her mission has been. Check this out.
Reverend Dickerson says she met with District Attorney David Prater today to discuss those charges against peaceful protesters, which she says are excessive.
It is another disparaging act against black and brown persons who were literally standing up to protest.
The executive director of Black Lives Matter, OKC, standing with members outside the Oklahoma County Courthouse, speaking out about charges and warrants filed against several protesters on May 30th and 31st.
It's not too often.
Eric Ruffin, who we talked to earlier this month after taking part in a forum with the Oklahoma City Police Department, says he was charged with arson and an act of terrorism resulting from protests at a downtown bail bonds business and an incident where a police vehicle was set on fire. He says he didn't take part in either one.
When you purposely do what something like Timothy McVeigh did, that's certainly terrorism.
KOCO reaching out to David Prater's office, he says in part, it is concerning and bewildering that this organization has chosen to defend criminals who are violent, exploitive, and unscrupulous. No individual or organization will intimidate me or law enforcement from protecting those we serve by aggressively enforcing and prosecuting the law.
We're hoping that he will consider, one, removing the warrants and reducing the bonds.
Patrina Adger, KOCO 5 News.
All right. Now, y'all remember 2020. That's when, as George Foreman with the Black Conservative Perspective will put it, the George Floydification of America, where the Democrat Party, literally, they made this man a martyr. You remember the riots, and they were tearing up the town. They were rioting in Seattle, Washington, in Portland, Oregon, in Minneapolis. I'm talking about burning down police stations. And as you saw in that video clip, there was a vehicle on fire in the background as the police were getting control of that guy. And we also have seen the peaceful protests that they were having in California when the immigration team was coming in there, Border Patrol was coming in there to get with those people, right? Peaceful. And some of the other ones we saw that was peaceful, as Democrats would say, where rocks and bricks are thrown, fires are set. Now, you heard this woman say, black and brown assault, and the police doing things when everything was peaceful. And you also heard her say, you heard the news reporter say that those people were being picked up and whatnot. They were being arrested. They were out there in front of a bonds place. Now, I want you to check out where we are present day with this same woman. Now, for the record, her name is Tashina Dickerson. She's an executive with Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement. And as you saw in that first clip, you heard what she said. She there representing the black and the brown. I want you to check out what's going on with Miss Dickerson today. Check this out.
An activist in Oklahoma City charged with embezzling money meant for Black Lives Matter OKC.
Reverend T. Sharia Moore Dickerson is charged federally with wire fraud and money laundering. KOCO's Olivia Hickey on this breaking news for us right now. She joins us live in the newsroom. What are you learning, Olivia?
Yeah, guys, it's just coming into our newsroom. The Department of Justice claims Dickerson deposited over $3 million in returned bail checks into her personal account from the Black Lives Matter Oklahoma City's account from June 2020 till at least October of this year. Some notable expenses the funds covered include recreational travel to Jamaica and the Dominican Republic for herself and associates, at least $50,000 in food and grocery deliveries for herself and her kids, tens of thousands of dollars spent in retail shopping, a personal vehicle registered in her name, 6 properties in her name or in the name of Equity International LLC, an entity only she has control over. Although, according to the indictment, she claims the church property she purchased back in 2021 was intended to be used as a BLM OKC community center. The property was placed in her own name. Now, back in 2020, the organization raised money to support its social justice mission from online donors and national bail funds. Over $5 million was raised, some through grants with national bail funds. The indictment says the money from the grants was supposed to assist people arrested in connection to protests for racial justice following George Floyd's death. The indictment also alleges Dickerson used interstate wire communications to submit 2 false annual reports to the Alliance for Global Justice on behalf of BLM OKC. She reported the funds were only used for tax-exempt purposes. The DOJ says she did disclose the funds went toward personal benefits. She faces up to 20 years in prison and up to $250,000 for each count of wire fraud. Now, within the last hour, Dickerson did post to her personal Facebook page on a Facebook Live saying she's been advised by her attorney not to comment. We did reach out to her personally as well this afternoon. We have yet to hear back. That indictment is now live on KOCO.com for you to view. Stick with us as the situation unfolds. Reporting live in the newsroom, Olivia Hickey, KOCO 5 News.
So let me get this straight. She just stood out there on the news in front of the media saying, you know, this is about the black and the brown and police officers. And ironically, in that video clip we saw in that initial news report where she was protesting, did you notice that that date was June 29th or something of 2020? The exact month and year that her fraud started. So even that talk she gave to the media was a performance. She knew she was about to start raking in the dough because what happened was they arrested a lot of people that night. Matter of fact, check this article out. And as you can see here, Black Lives Matter OKC executive director accused of wire fraud, money laundering. The executive director of Black Lives Matter OKC is being accused of embezzling $3.15 million from June 2020 to October 2025, just 2 months ago, not even a month and a half ago. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can all see this. Okay. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up because I'll never ask you for a cash app or a super chat or a donation. You hitting that like button, it does help the channel get the video out there. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And once you do, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. That way YouTube will make sure you get notified when I upload new videos. So the executive director of Black Lives Matter, OKC, has been charged with wire fraud and money laundering, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. A federal indictment states that beginning in at least 2016, Tashella Cherie Amore Dickerson, 52, had access to BLM OKC's bank, PayPal, and Cash App accounts while serving as the group's executive director. According to the indictment, BLM OKC was not registered as a tax-exempt organization under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, but accepted charitable donations through its affiliation with the Alliance for Global Justice, an Arizona-based nonprofit that served as its fiscal sponsor. AFGJ required BLM OKC to use funds only for tax-exempt purposes and prohibited the purchase of real estate without approval. In the spring of 2020, BLM OKC raised money from online donors and national bail funds to support its mission. Prosecutors say the organization raised more than $5.6 million, including grants routed through AFGJ from the Community Justice Exchange, the Massachusetts Bail Fund, and the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Just so happened from where Boston is, where Mayor Wu running that in the ground. We got Minnesota, where we know we got Somali and Waltz, all types of fraud going on there. And that's funny. The grants were intended to help post bail for individuals arrested during racial justice protests after the death of George Floyd. Returned bail funds could be used to create a revolving bail fund as permitted under federal tax regulations. Alleged misuse of BLM funds. Prosecutors allege that from June 2020 through at least October 2025, Dickerson embezzled money from BLM OKC for personal use. She allegedly deposited at least $3.15 million in return bail checks into her own accounts. And then the news report checked on all of this. Charges and potential penalties. A federal grand jury returned a 25-count indictment charging Dickerson with 20 counts of wire fraud, 5 counts of money laundering. Now, this is not new for BLM, just so you know. Check this out right here. And this is from 2022. Secret $6 million home has allies and critics skeptical of BLM Foundation's finances. NPR's Alyssa Chang speaks with Sean Campbell of Columbia's Journalism School about his report detailing how Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation bought a $6 million home with donation funds. I'm not even going to read all of that. But that's not all, because check out these other BLM leaders and what was going on with them.
New tonight, the federal trial for a man accused of defrauding an Atlanta Black Lives Matter nonprofit is underway in Ohio. Sir Major Page, whose real name is Tyree Conyers Page, is accused of 1 count of wire fraud and 2 counts of money laundering. The FBI says he fraudulently used funds from Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta. Investigators say that amount totaled nearly $500,000. Agencies from Ohio and Georgia took part in the investigation. He created the organization in the wake of George Floyd's murder.
Folks, the Democrats, do you remember Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and them wearing freaking African kente cloths and kneeling inside the Capitol building? That, I mean, and I don't get it how black people don't see that as a slap in the face. That's like wearing blackface. That's what that is. They choose the worst among us to glorify. It's no different than the hip hop gangbanger that's talking about how many people he shot, how much drugs they sold, and how many women they slept with. They glorify that. But the professor and whatnot, as a matter of fact, let me prove my point, because you probably have never ever heard of this young man. But I want to highlight somebody, because all nonprofit Black programs are not thievery, and they're not all just scams. I want you to listen real quickly to the story about he's 21 now, but at 19, he started an all-boys school in Georgia, funded off donations and charity drives. And I want you to listen to this to show that there are some good people out there that do good with the resources. Just do your investigation before you give the money. See, I know for a company to be considered a nonprofit, and I don't care if that's the Blue Cross, the Red Shield, or whatever, that only 3% of proceeds taken in have to be contributed to whatever cause you're supporting. So that's 3 cents out of every dollar that has to go to the thing that you're representing. But the other 97 cents or 97% can be kept and can be spent. It just has to all be spent within a fiscal year. I want to take a minute to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and partner of the channel, Chapter. Now, seniors, right now, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on with your Medicare, because in January, the prices are going to increase 10%, and that's $215 that'll be taken out of your Social Security check. And you don't it doesn't have to be that way. You want to make sure that you have the best Medicare plan available, because some doctors are not going to be a network after the first of the year. Some prescriptions may no longer be covered. You want to make sure that you protect yourself. Call Chapter and speak to one of the highly skilled and unbiased professionals in a free phone call that goes as fast as 20 minutes. In less than 20 minutes, you can get the information to make sure you got the best Medicare plan available, because it would suck to look up next year and find out your doctor's not a network and your prescriptions are no longer covered. So why wait? Call that number on the screen or visit the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and make sure that you are protected today. And you know what I'm saying? So that's why you'll see the CEO of the Red Cross has a 1.1, or United Way has a 1.1 or $1.2 million salary. Now, I don't know if that's what it exactly is. I'm just using that as an example, because the salaries are that high for these CEOs of these nonprofits. The salaries are crazy. The bonuses are crazy. And look at what the actual contribution is to the charity. So just do your research. But check this out about this young man named King Randall.
21-year-old youth leader is opening a new school in Albany. The X for Boys founder, King Randall, will transform the former Isabella School into the New Life Preparatory School for Boys. Randall tells WALB News 10's Gabrielle Ware he hopes this school will give Albany boys more opportunities for success.
King Randall says he's been wanting to open a school since he began the X for Boys program 2 years ago. He was only 19 years old.
Doing different workshops, teaching young men how to do different skill trades. We were also doing a book club, so I was teaching them, how to read, because 93% of the children that I come into contact with can't read. But now we have an 86% reading comprehension rate.
His camps also taught life skills like auto repair and sheetrocking. The kids were even invited to the White House. He says troubled young men in Albany want to live better lives. They just need more opportunity.
And so giving them a space where you have a facility where you're around a lot of young men and you're around other men that are trying to mold you and train you. I've had kids come find me, my house. They come knock on my door and ask to come join the X for Boys. I've had kids message me on Instagram, etc. Gang members, you name it.
Randall says he worked with Doherty County School System to find the perfect location.
I gave the superintendent a call and I asked if they have any old school buildings they didn't mind, getting rid of. And he was like, well, we have 3 buildings on the chopping block to be demolished. And I was like, oh, really? He was like, yeah. So I went to go tour one of them. And it's in great condition. Of course, it needs a little TLC, but they just stopped using it maybe about 2 years ago.
Randall has received nationwide support for his new effort, including receiving about 10,000 masks from the Ford Motor Company for his future students.
And Randall says they will use the building to continue current programming. When it's ready, the actual boarding school will not open for about a year. And we'll give you more information on that as this story develops.
And let me update you and bring you up to speed to 2025. The boarding school is doing extremely well. It's still going. I mean, his success rate with his boys, the ones that started off that are graduating and going off to college. And I have footage of that here somewhere, but you can just Google it, King Randall, and you'll see. He's older now. He's 26, doing well. And they do fundraisers. They do drives. People donate, but he takes every penny he's got and pours it into that school, and you can see the results. Now, these Democrats, all of their slush funds are being disrupted. USAID, gone. BLM. Nobody's donating to that. Matter of fact, truth be told, it wasn't a whole lot of black people in the beginning, but after a while, black people already knew what was up. Because think about it, some people were around these folks and seeing the new cars and the new houses and the attitudes change and the personalities change. Then you start saying, dang, they haven't kicked any of that back to help the black and brown people they supposedly care so much about. They got fat and they got rich, I think to the tune of like between $60 and $90 million. And rolled off into the sunset. But anytime there's something where a white person does something to somebody black, they still try to pop their head up to try to look at a way to money grab. That's what Democrats do. They prey on black tragedy and they sing it back to the listener and say, we're going to help you fix that so you don't go through that anymore. They lie to them because they know you're not going to change that. You can't change that unless you change the person or change the environment. But the individual just want to hear something good because they live a life filled with so much bad. So somebody just giving them the hope and they buy it every time. Well, Republicans are like, look, the last thing I want to do is lie to you. I'm gonna give you the opportunity. And if you work hard, you can. They don't want to hear that because in their mind, they've been working hard their whole life in the struggle. It's different than somebody going to a 9 to 5. The struggle is when you wake up and you live like in a project, you got competition to the right, to the left, to the top, sometimes beneath you. Just walking out your door. It's on. Most of us get up, wake up, walk outside our door. We go into the car, we listening to the music. These people are walking through a jungle sometimes, through a war zone. That stress, that PTSD. And so it weighs on them, so they doesn't want to hear. That's why you say, man, how is it that they keep falling for that? I used to be one of them. I was raised in that environment. And you realize a lot of those people they so sick of hearing bad news. What's on the media? What's on their TVs? Robberies, this, all negative stuff. A lot of them working jobs they don't like, live in neighborhoods they dislike, that's not safe. They want to get out, but they've never realized that the only way to get out is to stop and put yourself in the position to get yourself out. So as long as they keep hearing somebody say, hey, listen, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. Listen, I don't understand how they keep falling for it because obviously, as you see, I was a very young man and realized like, oh, no, I started asking me, why are you a Democrat? And when I heard them saying because I'm black, my brain just, even at that age, just was like, that doesn't make sense. Because there's white people that's Democrats too. And I just started researching and I resisted it. The programming on me was, I could remember as I was seeing things and recognizing, I still would be like, no, man, no. It was tugging. And there was an older gentleman named Tom Berry, because I went to college and I came to college in Florida and I ended up staying here and starting my family. But he kept saying, Brian, man, you're a Republican dude. I'm like, no, resisted it. But he kept getting me to look at things, read. And then I started listening to Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. So imagine a 24-year-old black man listening to Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh. Needless to say, none of my friends and homies was really excited for me to control the radio. So they always wanted to drive. But that's what happened. I was seeking and searching. A lot of them aren't. So I just wanted to bring you the story because I thought it was funny that the same people that's like, we're doing this for the black and the brown. And how dare you oppress our people, do more damage to our people than any white group out there in present day. I ain't talking about because somebody said, well, what about way back in slavery? You know how people go extreme. Well, what about slavery? Man, in present day, in the last 25 years, no other group has done more harm to the black community than the black community. And I know some people not going to like it because they're not real with themselves, but it is what it is. That's just like with any other group. Typically, the damage is done from within the group worse than anyone else. I'm sure some white folks can say that, whatever. But so I'm saying for what I know, we do more damage and harm to ourselves than any outside group. They don't even need an outside group anymore because the destruction, and that's what we got to get out of. But I just wanted to bring you that. I thought it was just hilarious. So if you stayed to this point, thank you so much from the top and bottom of my heart. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed. Most importantly, make sure that you stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.